Welcome, everyone, to episode 18 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. We are here to break down Monday Night Raw and NXT. Let's start off, though, with Monday Night Raw. And they kicked the show off with the first round of the King of the Ring tournament. It was supposed to have been Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor. And Finn came to the ring with the rest of the Judgment Day, and he proclaimed himself the winner with a bye. Except Adam Pearce had something else to say. He said, of course you're not getting a bye, you idiot. You're going to go up against Mr. Yeet himself. Main event Jey Uso, who is red hot with the fans right now. Starting to get some mainstream looks. I saw that his theme song was played at halftime of, was it the Knicks game? Pacer game or something else?
No, I think it was a game 7 of Cleveland and Orlando, okay, I believe.
Yep. That's what it was. So he's starting to get some mainstream attention, but what he needs is a signature win. And he got a win here. Finally. He finally got a win here. Also good to see Finn in action. I feel like we don't see him as much as we should actually wrestling. So I was happy to see him wrestle, not necessarily happy to see him take a loss, but nonetheless, he got the win. What'd you think of the match?
It was good. It was, I think there were a few spots that I was like, it seemed a little off. But then again, if they had been advertising it was going to be McIntyre, so I mean they may have had to do this on the fly. And but hey, two pros and they made it work, and it was a good match. And trying to think at the beginning, Damian Priest made it seem like everything was water under the bridge. Don't know how really sincere that was, but he just kind of made light of the altercation they had from Backlash, and everybody seems to be on the same page now for the time being. And, obviously they're not happy with this loss, or they probably won't be. But yeah, and McIntyre, I guess he, I'd been seeing stuff about a potential elbow injury. And I guess that is legitimate unless they're just going to continue this for storyline purposes. But I'm guessing that maybe he really is, and they just don't want to take any chances, especially with Clash at the Castle coming up soon.
And especially with him leaving in his car. I think that by having him leave so he's not forced to have a confrontation with CM Punk or anybody else, I think that also showed that maybe he actually is hurt, that they kayfabe gave him a reason to leave. So who knows? You never really know if anyone's actually hurt. I still don't think that Rhea Ripley's actually hurt, but I don't know. I think they make up. I think they make up happy.
She is.
But Pat McAfee had a nice line when he said he just got yeeted in the mouth. Oh man.
Oh yeah, he loves that.
He does.
Any way he can work in yeet, he'll definitely do it. Back to McIntyre. Something I did enjoy is they actually used logic in the backstage segment when McIntyre was getting mad at Adam Pearce about not being in the match. And Adam Pearce told him, hey, when you're going around telling everybody that you're hurt, but you're going to push through, he's like, obviously we have an obligation to see if you're okay and you're not cleared. I was like, hey, what do you know? They actually, that made absolute sense. And I thought that was very good. That's something you don't see all the time.
You don't see something all the time, but you mentioned McIntyre in the backstage segment, and he drove off. And right after he drove off, who came in other than Phil Brooks himself, CM Punk? And CM Punk's looking like he gained a couple lbs. He might need to trim those off once his elbow is fully healed.
Nah, I think I remember when I saw him, I was thinking that, but thinking in a way, it looks like his arms are a little bit like he's been in the gym more. To me, is what it looked like.
They look bigger. I guess it could be muscle. Maybe, I don't know. I need to see him with his shirt off. Pause. But he came to the ring and he cut a promo like only CM Punk can. I didn't think it necessarily was his best work. I think the Bleacher Report gave it an A. I wouldn't have given it an A. I kind of got a little bored during it. It was a little long-winded, in my opinion. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who loved it and eat up every word of what he says. He had some pop culture references in there, referencing the Drake and Kendrick beef when he said, "I hate the way that you walk and I hate the way that you talk." He referenced his choke of Jungle Boy when he said he's a choke artist.
And McIntyre's social media response to that line was amazing. If you haven't seen that,
no, what did he say?
That picture he sent out, just you got to find it. Like me describing it won't do it justice. You got to find it. Like it's McIntyre posted a picture with the caption, right? Yeah, I'm a choke artist too, and like as if this picture is saying what Punk said. You just got to find it. It was funny.
I will check it out. But after that, we got to some more wrestling, and we got our first Queen of the Ring match between Natalya and Io Sky. Man, Natalya needs to chill out with the Botox. She's had a lot of work done. It's getting a little out of hand, but she's still good in the ring. She just needs to. She's a pretty girl. She needs to tone that down. But of course, she didn't get the win. She'll probably never get a main roster again in her career, which is fine. Whatever. Io Sky got the win, which was the right booking decision. Obviously, I don't think there's a person on the roster that Natalya would fight where I would say she needs to get the win. But it was a fine match. Nothing too crazy there. A couple good spots. Natalya had one power bomb that looked really good and didn't get the win on it. Her facial afterwards she had a big smile on her face. I didn't quite understand that, but it was a nice little power bomb. But nothing really here stood out that much. It was a fine match. Nothing bad, nothing good, and the right person got the win.
And I still don't know how the bracket's going to shake up. I'm guessing maybe if they're going to keep it Raw side, SmackDown side, and then whoever emerges from each, are they going to be in the final? Is that how it's going to go?
That's the way I interpreted what they were doing. Yeah.
Okay.
So the winner of Raw fights the winner of SmackDown to become the king or queen of the ring. All
right. Well, with that said, and again, I can't remember who faces who next week, but I think
I don't know if they've announced it because they kept putting the brackets on the screen and they were empty for SmackDown. No, they did. No, they announced. They announced
some of the matches they announced were going to be at live shows. I don't know if you caught that. Like Kofi and Ray is going to be at a live show, and I think Zelina Vega and I can't remember who it was going to be like at a live show. It wasn't going to be on Raw.
I'm fine with that.
But
Natalya probably should have been on a live show.
I'm glad Io's on there. And with that said, I'm not sure how the bracket pans out. I have to take another look at it, but I would like to see Io versus Valkyria for sure. I think that'd be a great match.
Yeah, it would be. But speaking of great match, the next match was King of the Ring men's tournament. Ricochet versus Ilya Dragunov, and
that was good.
Those two, they went at it. Ilya Dragunov, he's good. He's definitely good. Ricochet's great. I do have an issue with them shaking hands at the end, only because I feel like Ilya wants to shake everyone's hand after matches. He did that a lot at NXT. He does it too often. When you're fighting a Ricochet for a first round match, I don't know if that's shake hands worthy. Back in the day, it would be like,
that match was worthy of it, though. That was good.
It was a good match, but
good.
don't know if they need to shake hands. I just like why is a guy who in his like first match on the main roster, oh, Ricochet, you've earned my respect by fighting this match. Forget that. No, you shake hands because you say the person earned your respect. He's a rookie who it was his first match. Like if Ricochet went to shake his hand, that's a different story. Ricochet's been on the main roster for years, but this is his first match. No, it just doesn't. It doesn't fit what shaking hands means to me in wrestling. But
I think you're just blinded by the fact that he is Russian and you don't like it. But,
yet,
no, and yeah, I know he does that a lot, but I mean, he respects him though, and you know he didn't do that when he beat the wrestler formerly known as Walter. He stood on him and celebrated. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he doesn't do it to everybody, but
no, he doesn't. But he shouldn't do it to anybody. But
great match.
The right man between these two got the win. That being said, these two should not have been fighting in the first round because I think that Ricochet should have been also at least be able to advance one round, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I have issues with that. Them hyping him winning the first speed championship and then this, but I'm thinking this is built into something because I don't know if you've seen any of his social media stuff. Ricochet's, he's like, I lost again, and you know, like he's down on himself now and like being public about it. So I think this is leading to something else. What? I don't know, but I think especially with the social media stuff, this is going to be more integrated into a storyline.
I hope so. I like Ricochet.
Oh yeah, but I mean, talking about the brackets though, I mean, I immediately thought that though when I was like, okay, so now Dragunov or Gunther is going to lose on this side of the bracket. I don't like that. I don't think it should be that way.
It just depends on how they make him lose. If there's some interference that sets up a program with somebody else, maybe Ricochet turns heel and he's mad that he lost to Dragunov, so he makes Dragunov lose his next match. I don't know. But if they don't have clean losses and there's something that sets up something else, I can be okay with it. Somebody has to lose. Everybody can't win. I mean, us wrestling fans, we complain about people getting losses, but if you're getting a loss, if you're getting a win, it's at the expense of somebody else getting a loss. So someone's got to lose. The only way around this would be for Gunther and Ilya to not both be in the King of the Ring. So, I mean, it's so your options are they either lose or they don't get TV time. So, I mean, I'll take them losing. They just got to make them lose in the right way. This is Gunther, I think, is probably the minus 1,000 favorite to win the King of the Ring, in my opinion. I think they're going to have him win. Or main event Jey Uso, I guess, now that Jey Uso's on it.
I personally think he is going to end up losing in one of these next couple of rounds via interference from Judgment Day setting up some sort of cage style match or something between him and Priest. I think that's the setup to this. It's going to lead to a rematch at the King of the Ring tournament.
Yeah, I don't even know why I said Jey Uso. I mean, he replaced Drew McIntyre, which means they didn't have aspirations of him winning, so they're not just going to change it that much to the point where they just have him win the whole thing. So yeah, Gunther's going to win. I'll tell you who's not going to win the women's side. Ivy Nyla or Zoe Stark. So, which was the next match for the Queen of the Ring tournament.
A problem with this match. I know the fans weren't really that into it, but I think if they book them properly going forward, I think on a good match, but I don't know about putting those two in a match together where, you know, the crowd wasn't going to be that into it. I mean, I thought they did fine. I know it wasn't the best received from what I could tell, but I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was a good enough match. I just don't know about them facing each other. I think they could have tweaked that a little bit and still gave Stark the win, but
Okay. Yeah.
it made it feel a little more like a little bit bigger of a win because they had like a vignette for her a couple weeks ago talking about she sent Trish packing and she beat I think I can't remember if she said beat Becky and came close to beating Rhea. The Yeah, I just don't know if that they could have put her up against somebody to made it feel a little more like a little bit bigger of a win, but I thought it was a good match. So, and I think they're both a little more, a little more polishing. They could be around for a while, both of them, but we shall see.
Yeah. We shall see. There's to me something about Zoe Stark just isn't there. I don't know what it is, but there's something. She's missing something. I can't put my finger on it. I need to watch her wrestle a little bit more. I'm sure at some point in time I'll be able to put my finger on it, but I don't know.
But she got the win. She's moving on.
Yeah. And we're going to move on to Big Bronson Reed versus Chad Gable, which saw interference from Sami Zayn, who attacked Gable.
I'm already getting sick of this whole thing.
Yeah, at some point in time, I think it's going to be some sort of triple threat match between Zayn,
they've
Gable,
announced
and
it already.
Reed. Oh, they did?
Yeah, it's going to be in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay.
Triple threat for the
at the King of the Ring. How far are they going in the tournament before it comes time for Saudi Arabia? Are they just going to have the final?
That I'm not sure of that either.
Because I missed the days when guys would wrestle 2, 3, 4, 5 matches in one day.
Well, I know from the poster, like from the advertisement, it looks like all the main belts are going to be on the line for this event. So I think they may only have time for the final of each one. I mean, because I believe all the main champions were advertised on the poster.
And are they? And I think we talked about this last week, but are they calling it King of the Ring? Or are they still calling it Crown Jewel, or what are they calling it?
No, I think they're calling it the King and the Queen of the Ring. I think is what they're. That's
going to be a weird choice if you have all the titles on there. If you're calling it King of the Ring, you got to have it be the main event, right? Like you would think. And then the title's not the main event. I don't know. It sounds like they're backing themselves into a corner to have a logical match card, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, King and Queen of the Ring is the name of it.
Yeah, then you have to have those two be last and second to last, or one leads off, one ends. But you got to have one of them end. You would think.
Man. Let's see. And on this poster I'm looking at, you've got Cody, Logan Paul, Bianca and Jade, Sammy, and Becky Lynch.
I'm surprised they would have a woman on a Saudi Arabian poster. Good
and and it looks like Becky versus Liv is happening there.
Okay, give Liv the title. Give Liv the title. It's time.
Agreed.
I don't need to see Becky with the title anymore. She should just be a placeholder. And speaking of Becky, she cut a promo next where she tried to put over a lot of the women's superstars. She talked about Valkyria and Liv, and not Liv Morgan. Who else did she talk about? She talked about a couple of the other NXT girls that are escaping me right now. Alba Fire.
I know she talked about Alba Fire.
And Valkyria.
She did not talk about Liv, which prompted Liv to come out.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Liv came out and she talked about being overlooked and underappreciated and overestimated, and talked about what she's done. And there's real heat room between those two, and it's going to lead to a match, like you just said, in Saudi Arabia. Hopefully a good match. We shall see. I'm sure it will be a good match. They're both very good workers. But yeah, I felt like Becky was just kind of yapping. They talked about her hat for a little bit at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah. That's right. It was the Cole was interviewing her, and that it was fine, but I think Liv's time is now.
It is now. I've been seeing the Easter eggs that have been laying down about her and Dom? Did you see the newest one?
I did not, and I was paying close attention, but I did not notice anything in the background this time. But she definitely reiterated about taking everything from mommy. She hammered that point home again.
So there were some sleuths on the internet who noticed that there was a segment that Dom had where he was wearing his normal purple bandana in the beginning of the show, and then he wasn't wearing his purple bandana anymore. And in one of the scenes, you can see a little corner of a purple bandana peeking out of Liv Morgan's shorts.
Interesting.
And I promise you, it was the tiniest piece of the purple bandana, and the fact that a fan picked that up was pretty impressive. And I'm sure that it was intentional, but it was such a small piece of it that it's just crazy. At some point in time, this is all leading up because these hints are so subtle. It's all leading to an amazing video package that WWE is going to put together when Ripley comes back, where it's going to show all the times that all the clues that have been laid for the past 2 months, with them walking out of the same dressing room with the bandana. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good one. They're going to put together a good package.
And also it's leading to, you can phone this in, bold prediction time. When Liv drops the line to Rhea, mommy's not the only one on top. It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. And apparently so is Dom. All right. And moving on to the next match. Valkyria versus Dakota Kai. I'm sure that you're probably not happy that these two were fighting in the first round of this tournament, but they were. And
it was going to be
loss.
It was going to be. I wouldn't have liked it either way. Apparently, Asuka's hurt.
I saw that,
and I mean that. Because she was advertised up until Dakota Kai. Because when Dakota came out, I was like, Dakota's in her ring gear, and then she said that she was taking her place, and I knew Valkyria was going to get the win, but yeah, I don't like that for a first round. It's like you just have damage control come over. You had EO win. I don't necessarily like that, but it was still a good match. I just hope they don't keep piling up the losses for damage control. I don't think they will. I think they realized how they did not showcase Io Sky enough while she was champion, and I don't think they're going to make that mistake again because she is way too good. Yeah. And so, yeah, hopefully all will be well with that, and they won't damage their credibility on the show too much, especially since they just got there. But it was a good match. Valkyria is good. And, it was good. She's another front runner to win the tournament, I think.
Yeah.
So
it'd be a very good boon for her career if she could win the King of the Ring tournament. It does wonders for careers. Just look what it did for Zelina Vega. All right. And then the last match on the card was Sheamus versus Gunther, two of the best brawlers to ever do it. They beat the hell out of each other for 15 minutes, and man, they were just going at it. Especially when you got a guy who's so pasty like Sheamus, it's nice to see just handprints all over
like
chest.
solid handprint. That one on his
Yeah.
back. Oh, that was that was good. And that's the first time I've ever seen Sheamus tap out. And I forgot to look that up what career wise, but I don't think I've ever seen him tap out in a match before. Not that I can remember.
I can't remember either, but I'm sure he has, because that's the type of thing I think they would have brought up. Like, this is, oh, he's never tapped before.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I'm sure he's tapped. Probably not often. He definitely doesn't tap often.
Yeah. And the well timed interference from Kaiser,
Yeah,
damaging the knee further, and seeing that's the. I know Gunther's style may not be for everybody, and a lot of people don't want to see him be champion as much as I do, but I like that getting a submission win, tainted, I know, but getting a submission win with an old school move. I like that. I really like that. And yeah, I really liked it. It was a great match. I don't know if you saw where Sheamus like posted pictures of the wounds on his chest, and he said there will not be a part 4.
no.
So I'm curious to see where.
So I see that Sheamus tapped out to the Hurt Lock. I'd argue he didn't actually tap out. He seems to have been more rendered unconscious than anything during when they were in the Thunderdome or whatever they were calling it during COVID. Previously passed out. He also passed out in the Yes Lock. So apparently he doesn't like these Yes Locks and Hurt Locks. He doesn't like locks. They cause him to to pass out. So yeah, he rarely taps out. He rarely taps. I think he's only done it. I think this is his 4th time ever. Which, when a guy who's been wrestling for over 10 years, it's not very many. Not very many at all.
And he must like him to give him that, to put him over that way.
What's not to like?
Yeah, exactly. but I mean, no, because I'm sure at this point in his career, Sheamus could have very well said, "Hey, no, just have Kaiser do something and let Gunther hit his power bomb on me or something." But to let him win like that, I think that kudos to him for giving him that type of victory.
To a Boston Crab.
A half crab.
Even worse.
A half crab.
Even worse. All right. So
is that really all the matches?
Yeah. We just went over about 7.
Okay.
Time flies when you're having fun. So let's stop having fun and talk about NXT.
Well, tell me what your favorite match was at NXT, Josh. Oh wait, never mind.
I'm doing the best I can over here. Doing the best I can. But let's talk about NXT. We started off
your favorite
following 2 eventful weeks of spring break, and
we started off off the show
with Wesley and some other guy versus Josh Briggs. Oh man, I hope they didn't give him a hot mic. But
it was good.
News is he took the L.
Yeah, so it was good.
I didn't see it, but I love
it. And I like Wesley's finisher, man. And I think, and it's funny because I just saw something the other day where I guess somebody on a podcast or on an interview asked AJ Styles about using the spiral tap that he used to use in TNA.
Yeah. And he said he retired it.
Yeah, but if you look at Wesley's finisher, I don't know if it's the same move, but it looks very similar with the way he finishes and the way he lands it. But yeah, still a cool move nonetheless. And but man, this just goes back to, and I understand that's how the guy wrestles. But when you're coming off a back injury, I just don't know about some of these power spots they did from Briggs in this match. Now, granted, we can sit here and talk about Briggs talking all day long, but he seems to be a pretty safe, pretty good safe worker, pretty good safe big man worker. But there was one spot where I was like, ooh, it looked like when he went for like a backbreaker or something, that Wesley kind of slipped a little bit and it looked like it had a little more impact than it should have. I can't remember exactly the spot, but there was definitely one where I was like, ooh, that's bad place to have a hiccup, especially on Wesley's back. And, but dude, and Ivar came out and got on commentary. That was not very good. That led to a brawl between Ivar and Briggs post match, and and then from the champions podium, I guess we'll call it, Obafemi was laughing at him fighting, and I thought that was hilarious. I don't know why, but no, Wesley looked good, man, and him versus Obafemi is a money match. And I hope they have it, but I have a feeling is leading to. I hope it's not a four corners or a fatal four way rather, but I'm thinking possibly even because I remember they used to do like the NXT North American title ladder matches, and I'm kind of thinking. I mean, right now we're at 4 potential people, and I'm thinking by the time they get to the show in Vegas, it could end up being a ladder match. For it, but we'll see. But now, man, God, Wesley's good, dude, and Briggs did very well. He played his role perfectly. I could go without hearing Ivar on commentary anymore, but hey, personal preference. He's great in the ring. I love him in the ring, but just not everybody has that natural gift of gab. So,
yeah.
So, well, we'll see, but.
All right. Well, I don't want to talk about Josh Briggs any more than we have to, so we're going to move on to Shayna Baszler with Lola Vice versus Carmen Petrovich with Natalya again. She must need to pay some bills because she's on every show.
God, I wish she would have watched this. This was a weird entrance, and maybe she's done this before and I've missed it, but Carmen came out doing some routine with swords for her entrance. And
okay.
And you know how I feel about bringing weaponry to a ring where we all know damn good and well it is not going to get used.
It.
And so anyways, kudos to Baszler for putting on a good show. Carmen, to me, based on the times I've seen her in the ring, was definitely not ready to be thrown into a match with Shayna Baszler. Shayna sold her stuff the best she could, and then finally, put her away, and as she should have. That was the right result. I just don't think that just the entrance was weird, and then the match, like Baszler should have immediately beat her, in my opinion. But hey, right person won. It's all that matters. And then Natalya was talking to her about letting more of that inner fire out, and then some guy in the back was talking about how oh, she's still good looking or something, and then Carmen swiftly kicked her in the head, and Natalia's like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we need to bring more out to get that side of you out. But I just don't, even if it leads to a more aggressive side, I just don't think she's ready for that type of big match, not based on what I've seen. I mean, It's just, but hey, I'm sure she can get there. She's got a good look. Just that stuff with the swords, the head has to go.
But she's ready to use them. She's ready to use them. She's ready to kill someone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up was No Quarter Catch Crew versus Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe.
Okay.
Master Igwe with special guest referee Stacks.
Dude, let's see if I can get through this without laughing. There was no referee in the ring for this tag match, and this the tag team, if you don't remember from last week, that lost to the Good Brothers. Mm-hmm. And so there's a backstage segment, and No Quarter Catch Crew is talking about, hey, well, your first match after all this hype, you lost, and they're like, hey, no shame in losing to two great veterans, which is what I said. And so they ended up deciding to have this match, and then there was no referee, and out came the family, and and in another string of basically admitting to murder, they said the referee was unavailable, and so Stax is their new referee. And I don't think the referee was seen for the rest of the show. And so, oh, dude, it was, but dude, Stacks ran in and did the ref slide into the ring, and it was great. And he did the obnoxiously slow count whenever No Quarter Catch Crew tried to get a pin, and they would try to do fast counts.
So who was he going to start a feud with? Why were they involved? Are they fighting with No Quarter Catch Crew?
Yes, the family is. Yes,
okay.
Because the Don, because remember, No Quarter Catch Crew, the family says they owe them money for handling their little problem, aka having Drew Gulak knocked off, writing him off of TV. And then last week there was a segment when they were riding around in the Ford Explorer again, and the Don said, he wanted to pursue the Heritage Cup. And so the new baby faces were the recipient of a highly expedited 3 count from Stax, which got them the win. And then there was complaints about that, and I thought it was very odd for this team who is acting overly baby face-ish to react so positively to a clearly tainted victory. And the announcers were trying to pass off, get whatever type of win you can take, this early on. It's like, okay, sure, whatever logic they want to use. But just fast forwarding to later in the show, I think the show actually ended with the family kidnapping a member of No Quarter Catch Crew. And when Charlie Dempsey came out into the parking lot with the Heritage Cup, he was looking around aimlessly looking for his partner who had just been kidnapped. Yes,
it sounds like this is getting a little absurd.
Oh yeah, and I love every second of it. Oh, and an unfortunate bit of news. Charlie Dempsey was allowed to speak on more than one occasion, and neither time was good. They've got to stop. The guy can wrestle. Let him wrestle. Stop giving him the microphone. They have to stop giving it to him.
No. He's got to take his lumps in NXT, so when he gets to the main roster, he's ready to talk.
Not going to be ready. He's not. Like we said earlier, you have that knack or you don't. There's nothing wrong with that. Be a good wrestler. Let your dad be your mouthpiece.
Succotash.
That's what I don't understand, though.
Succotash. You saw where he came from. He learned it. He learned it.
But there's a difference. You could tell Roman was being directed in how to deliver some of these promos to a degree. To me, it was obvious.
Yeah, but I
they
read
wouldn't
an
let
article
him be himself.
That Dempsey's promo coach is Josh Briggs. So I mean that's the problem here.
and I just don't. You have a phenomenal talker who's his dad. Let him be the mouthpiece for the crew. I just don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't.
It's a learning process. His dad probably said, I want my son to feel this. I want him to feel sucking. He'll learn. He'll grow. I guarantee it.
Son's a good wrestler.
Right.
Very good wrestler.
Yeah.
But
he's not good enough to get a mouthpiece on the main roster, and that's what they're prepping him for. So he's got to learn to talk on his own.
But his mouthpiece is on his own damn show. Give it to him.
But he's not going to be on that show forever. I still look at it as a developmental brand where they are trying to get them ready for the main roster. It's not a separate brand. It's just not. It's a developmental brand. It's the G League.
I see what you're saying. I just,
trust me, I get it. Nobody wants to hear what he has to say. No one wants to hear what Briggs has to say. No one wants to hear what half these guys have to say. They got to take their lumps, though. And, as fans, we got to take our lumps as well by having to listen to them.
We're going to have to do a list one of these days. We're going to, a reel or a TikTok or something with how many murders the family has admitted to over the course of their time on NXT. But this is my personal favorite. With
are they facing?
This is my favorite, with the referee not being available. Oh, dude, that's good stuff, man. Yeah. Good old school wrestling. I love it.
Next up, we had Michin versus Ariana Grace. Why did they change her name from Mia Yim to Michin?
I don't know.
Stupid name.
I don't know why they changed his name. I don't know why they changed it from Walter when he was the A in his name, which was an amazing intro to Gunther. Why did they do that? Why did they change his awesome music? Why did they do any of that
name
stuff?
Is Walter.
Yeah, in all capital letters too.
On his license, it's all caps. Whenever he gets pulled over, though, the cop yells his name.
I don't know, man. This match was okay. I guess they're trying to build up Mia Yim as as a dark horse to win this NXT Women's North American title, but Ariana Grace, she's got some of the tools, man, to make that gig work. And I don't know, man. I just hope they don't. They've got something good there, and I'm just afraid it's gonna go by the wayside. They had a segment backstage with Ariana Grace talking to Chelsea Green, and then Gigi Dolan was back there just like taking it, just like listening to it all. And then finally, when those two left, Gigi said, "I can't do this anymore." And she got up and left. So I guess she's not under Ariana Grace's wing anymore with that whole makeover thing. Hopefully that's done, because that needed to stop weeks ago. And, and yeah, but I mean, the match was fine. I think they both have their strengths, and I thought it was a fine match. So,
okay. All right. Well, we're going to move on from it to Noam Dar challenging Trick Williams on the Supernova sessions.
This was preposterous, dude. So the thing in the envelope, it turned out to be, and of course the crowd was chanting like stuff about Maury along those lines again with the manila envelope, and they unveiled that it was a picture of the last time Trick and Noam Dar fought. And when Trick pinned him, you could see from the angle of the photo that Dar's foot was under the rope. So it should not have counted. And Trick was like, "Why'd you have to go through all that? If you wanted a title shot, I would have just given it to you." And then there was some back and forth with him and Lash, and she slipped and called him babe. And then the rest of Metaphor was like, "Oh," like looking, and he's like, "What? Why can't you just tell him?" And she's like, "No, now's not the time, this and that." And then Noam Dar hit him. I can't remember if he got him with a kick or a back fist or what he did, but he dropped the champ. And he may still be motionless in the ring because he was selling the shit out of that. And way too much overselling for one shot from Noam Dar. It's like, okay, you didn't sell the offense from Dragunov 2 weeks ago as much as that. It's like, come on. I thought that was, I mean, hey, kudos to him though. He's trying to build up anticipation for this rematch, but I just thought that didn't necessarily think that was the way to go. I thought it was a little absurd how that came to be, but I'm sure it'll be a good match. I'm not big fan of this metaphor thing. It is funny at times, but it should be a good match. Noam Dar's a good wrestler. So but we'll see. I don't know about that being the first feud post title victory, but hey, it should produce a good wrestling match. So
okay,
and
all right,
and whatever's gonna happen with, maybe they'll have a famous WWE wedding with Trick and Lash. Who knows?
but it sounds like they were teasing a relationship between the two of them, but she was
Yes.
not ready to let Metaphor know.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right,
Yes.
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, let's move on to Fallon Henley versus Kalani Jordan. Kalani Jordan was somebody else that Becky talked about when she was doing her promo. But how was the match?
Match was fine, and Fallon is saying she's doing stuff for herself now after the fallout from her turning on Thea Hale last week. They recapped that, and believe Fallon did get the win here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
By
And again, man, I just don't know about some of the people they're having them get wins over, some of the ones who I think they should be pushing, like James, but I know they have to progress and have front runners to participate in this North American women's title match they're having soon. I don't know if we've touched on this, but to me, it was kind of a bait and switch. They made it seem like there was going to be, like, I thought it was going to be like long sessions showing these combine things for the women, like in your place, like your participation in the match would depend on where you stood in the combine, among other things, like I guess matches and stuff like that. And they would just show a few clips here and there. They showed a few of them like doing the broad jump, and is there such thing as a 10-meter sprint? Because they did that, and I was like, a 10-meter sprint? What? And they did like
Is
some.
that how long a ring is? How long is a ring?
Possibly.
They could have just made it up because that's how long a ring is.
Okay. Well, hey, well, no, thanks for that, because that makes sense. Then they did talk about like speed off the ropes. They had some more speed drills, but there wasn't really. I thought there would be more like them going against each other and showing more of it. I thought they would make it more into like a 15-20 minute segment, but it was just like these little short clips that they kept going back and forth to and saying who ended up being on the top of them after the first week or whatever. And I thought with the production team they have in WWE, they could have made that much better viewing than it was.
Yeah. People love to see the combine. You saw what the NFL does.
Mm-hmm.
I vaguely remember them having combine stuff like years back when like Bianca Belair was in NXT and Montez was in NXT, because I remember Montez trying to beat some of Bianca's like long jump or something like that. I can't remember what that was on, but they definitely used to do stuff with the combine a few years ago. Whenever Bianca was in NXT, I like to watch wrestlers do that kind of stuff.
Me too. And I thought we were going to get to see more of that. But
you ever see that online video that Logan Paul posted of him trying to beat Montez Ford's standing broad jump record? It's a pretty good video. He posted like 3 months ago. Spoiler alert, though, he did not break Montez Ford's standing broad jump record.
Yeah, Logan Paul is an athlete and a very, very great athlete, but yeah, I don't see him beating Ford's.
Yeah,
no,
probably
not
maybe
happening.
one of the most athletic people in the world.
Besides me, yes, I agree.
It goes Wade Montez.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Next up, we had Duke Hudson with Chase U versus Lexis King.
Oh, God. Dude, they cannot let go of this Rich Holland stuff. They can't. They can't. They had a backstage thing where Ridge was talking to Thea, saying, "Oh, you remind me of my daughter," this and that, and then Lexis King came up, and that led to a confrontation, and then Hudson stepped up, and you could tell there was going to be a match between Lexis and Duke, and there was, and then in the middle of the match, here comes Ridge Holland to the ring with a chair, but when he tried to get into the ring, Andre Chase and others at ringside stopped him from interfering in the match, which the distraction led to the advantage for King, who ended up hitting the coronation for the win. And then Holland was all upset about it. And then there was another segment later, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." And they acted like they understood. But one of the guys on Chase U was like, "No, I don't know, man. You know, a leopard doesn't change its spots." And Rich Holland was like, I'll prove I'll prove it to y'all. Y'all just wait and see." And I was like, "No, I don't want to wait and see. I don't. Please, God, no." And dude, they're not letting it go. They're not.
You're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah. Which was fine, though. Duke Hudson's a good big man. I don't like that he's in that gimmick, and I think they're forever gonna. And I think we've talked about this before. I know Alpha Academy has worked on the main roster. I don't think Chase U would. And now I think Duke Hudson potentially could be a good low to mid card big man worker, because he's a good big man worker up on SmackDown or Raw, but until they tweak his character somewhat, I don't know if that's happening. So anyways, but it was all more further development for this never ending Ridge Holland stuff.
Not going anywhere.
And I hate that they're getting Thea Hale stuck in that. I'm hoping she can break out of that and be in title contention at some point soon, but we shall see.
And then the match card ended with the NXT Women's Championship match between Roxanne Perez and Chelsea Green, with Roxanne Perez retaining her WWE or NXT Championship gold.
I have not seen any of the grades for NXT this week, but dude, I thought this match was good. Take Chelsea Green out of the type of, she wasn't in one of these like more funny, like comedic type in-ring characters this week. It was a little more serious, it seemed, in the ring, but still
let her go out and wrestle.
Huh?
They let her go out and wrestle, it sounds like.
Yeah. And, still doing her same entrance and, some of the same Chelsea Green stuff. But, dude, she looked good. And the crowd was fully behind her there, too. And they were talking about, Pop Rocks, maybe not the cleanest, but it got the job done. I thought the finisher looked fine. I didn't quite understand that. I watched it a couple of times, like, did I miss something? But no, it was a good match. But dude, the fans there were pretty firmly behind Chelsea Green, and that was
a crowd favorite.
It was good to see, man. And I know you already get a little bit less of her currently because she's in a tag team on the main roster. But seeing her work a full match like that, with a little more seriousness about her. It was good because she still kept those elements that make her so great. Yeah. And it was oh, dude. And they're like, "Oh, Chelsea Green with a Rough Rider." That if they would have called that a Rough Rider, hey, whatever. You call it whatever you want to, but it was but you need to go back and watch what they were calling a Rough Rider.
Okay,
but
I will go back and watch everything except for the Josh Briggs match.
It was still a good match. Hey, anything with Wesley in it is watchable.
Oh, I'll watch it on mute then.
Fair enough. I thought it was a good match. I did, and dude, but seeing that and I know we've talked about, especially how it's happening a lot of late, the main roster people coming back and working on the shows, but I think Chelsea Green down there as champion could work. I really
It's
do.
champion. Okay.
Yeah, I think so, man. The crowd loves her.
Well,
And like we talked about there before, if you're beloved by that crowd on that show, you're golden, man.
yeah.
But do I think they'll do that? No. I
No.
think there's too much younger talent there that they're going to try to, like we said before, develop, regardless of what they want to call it, standalone, whatever. They are developing them down there.
Yeah.
And
Natalia's the next one to get that title anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, and then as I touched on earlier, I believe the show ended with the family committing another felony crime. And so
Starting to stack them up.
Oh yeah,
That's why they call them stacks.
Oh man, but no, overall, it was fine. Some good matches, some okay ones. Like I said, I felt a little duped by what I thought I was going to get with the combine stuff, but it is what it is, man. I know there's only 2 hours on that show, and they got to get in actual matches and everything too. So, overall though, I enjoyed the first 2 nights of WWE programming for the week. So.
Very good. Very good. And if you liked the first 2 nights of WWE program this week, why don't you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button because we have gotten to the end of the card, and this was episode 18 of the Golden Squeeze podcast, and we will see you when we see you on the Golden Squeeze podcast. Squeeze.